This vlog will contain issues about mental health and depression and all those, and discussion of the serious issues behind those things, and mention even suicide. If you ever need help, don't be afraid to reach out to someone. Don't be afraid to tell someone, whether it's your best friend or a hotline. I'll probably link a hotline down below, but feel free to call someone or talk to someone about it. Know that you're never alone, and if this content is upsetting to you, I encourage you turn it off and go either look at something, go talk something else, go talk to someone. And please, just know that you're not alone, and you can always talk to someone about it. All right, let's get started. I hope you had a great Easter, even though it's such a short holiday. Welcome to Scrawl Show. Probably should have started with that. For me, as a Christian, Easter is a time to celebrate the resurrection of Christ. But as on a personal note, Easter's about the time I got my first mental illness diagnosis. And it happened about 7 years ago. And it happened about 7 years ago. I was in college, and it was hard to be motivated. I noticed it was harder for me to get motivated to do simple things like go to class or to do my homework, because I always felt like no matter how much I tried, that things wouldn't work out, that it would always end badly for me, or never what I expected. And since it wasn't what I expected, that means it must be bad, because I'm not living up to expectations. I went to a clinic at school, and I went to the free clinic because I was broke at the time and I couldn't afford anything else. And I knew I needed some help, and I thought that mental health was just, here's your medication, this is your diagnosis, take the medicine, take it forever, and we'll hopefully never have to see you again, or hopefully this won't get too serious. But as it turns out, that's not what mental health actually is. I just wanted the script for the prescription and to take the meds and walk out of there. But the doctor at my school said I had to go to counseling. I think most schools probably require the use of both medication and counseling or some type of therapy. But I wasn't really ready to open up. Sorry about the camera angle. I don't have my tripod with me. But I did take the medication, and I did fairly well. I did something that you shouldn't do, and I stopped taking the medication. I thought I was better. But the thing is, I didn't have anything to replace the medicine with, because medicine's okay, but it's only good if you also have what they call coping skills in therapy to supplement it. And the skills that you learn are what really keeps you going in the hard times, and the medicine is just there to get you to a place where you can do some work and you can work on yourself. And so I went off meds. the problems that caused my depression were still there. And the thing is, this time it got worse and it developed into anxiety. So sometimes you have what's called a dual diagnosis, and mine became not only depression, but also, even though I was a little anxious before, that became sort of part of full blown anxiety. And what set it off was that I got some news from a doctor visit that I wasn't expecting. And I, up until then, I thought I was pretty invincible. And then I saw that, like most people getting older, your health could be affected. And the depression and the anxiety sort of magnified that in my head to where that not only am I not healthy, I might be extremely sick. And in my head, at least it felt like there's definitely something wrong and it was about to manifest itself, but it was only a matter of time. And I didn't think that a doctor would catch it in time. And that's the thing that anxiety and depression will do. It will convince you of, while even though there might be a small problem, that the problems are much bigger and they're amplified. And so I was convinced that this thing would continue undetected, and I was convinced that my health was, even though I'd gotten some bad news and it wasn't great news, it wasn't like I was on death's door. And I thought I was on death's door. And so I freaked out and I would ruminate on it. Because that's the only way I knew how to cope with problems, were to ruminate on them and to not only just because I couldn't avoid the problem anymore, so my mind said the best choice was to ruminate. And that is the best choice, at least in my mind at the time, that it felt like it could make. And the day I thought that it got really, really bad, because when you go to doctors and stuff like that, and they say, "Do you have suicidal thoughts?" I'd say no, because having suicidal thoughts automatically meant you were going to be on suicide watch. Turns out that's not true. A professional can evaluate your risk, and they can help you make the best call and plan for that. If you have those thoughts, I encourage you again to talk to somebody, and hopefully talk to some type of professional at any given point. I thought that this is the point where I don't see my life getting any better. I saw I was getting worse, and I thought that at a quick impulse, I thought, well, why don't I just end it? How to end my life. I would have the flashes and images of me ending my own life, and I thought, that's definitely a wake-up call. And I'm glad I had that wake-up call, because without those flashes, my mind didn't know how to cope. Those things freaked me out so much that they saved my life. I had a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety, and things were messed up in my head. So my mind did the only thing it could to flash those images into my head so it would save my own life. because the brain will try to save itself, and that's the only thing my brain knew how to do. And so, because the brain will try to save itself, and that's the only thing my brain knew how to do. Long story short, I got back into therapy. I'm not in it right now. I went to several months, I think almost a year or a little more. I got back in. Right now I'm not. And I'm still working on stuff because depression and anxiety is not something that just goes away. And any type of mental illness doesn't just go away. I mean, you have to cope with it. Once you have it, it's just a manageable condition. You're with it for the rest of your life. So that's where I'm at. I'm working on it myself, trying different tips and tricks. If I have to go back into therapy someday, that's certainly an option. This has been good for me to admit this and to confess all this stuff and to tell you about this stuff. I hope that if you're struggling with some of this stuff, you can get some help. If you like this video, be sure to like or comment some of your own experiences. Share this video with some friends, and I'll see you guys next time.